Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Liv and today I have a little wrap up for you. October is coming to an end. I'm filming this on the 30th because I don't think I'm getting any more reading done this month, which means that for October I have read 4 books. These books were kind of like mixed in quality, but overall I think I had a great month. And I'm just gonna start with the first one, which is Cleopatra and Frankenstein. I really enjoyed this book. I just flew through it. I think it's so much fun to read. It was quite a surprise to me actually, because I thought I wouldn't like it, but I started reading it in the bookshop and then I was like, okay, I can't leave without this book. I want to know what happens next. And it's about the relationship between a young woman, she's in her early 20s, she's an artist, her name is Cleo, and Frank, who works in advertising and is in his mid-40s. So quite the age gap between the two of them. And of course that causes trouble. And now just saying it like that, it sounds like a weird rom-com kind of thing, but every person in this book has their issues. So it's not only told from the perspective of Cleo and Frank, but also Frank's younger sister, who's I think around 19, then some of Frank's closer friends, I don't know who else, oh yeah, Cleo's best friend, and they also have their own stories. But through these people, the story of Cleo and Frank is being told. And then in the middle of the book, something major happens. It's more towards the end, but in the middle of the book, like another person enters this whole network of people. And the person that enters, I like her very much. I think most people who read this book very much like her. Even the people who didn't like the book like this character. But I don't want to spoil too much. I think this is a book where if you're like on a low, like in a reading slump, this will get you back on track. And now we're going to the next one. And this book is The Idiot by Elif Batuman. And I started this book, I think about a year ago. So I kind of had it on hold for a while because right throughout the middle I just wasn't interested anymore. It is set in I think 1995, somewhere in the mid-90s, and Zelin is an immigrant child from Turkey and she gets to study at Harvard, and she basically wants to get to the bottom of the meaning of language and everything around her. She's like a very mind and brain oriented person. She needs to think through everything. She's also a little bit awkward and she has her kind of own humor. This girl, she goes to Harvard and she meets a boy there who is in a relationship, but she falls for him and they start this really weird kind of conversation via email. Then they meet and like all of these encounters are kind of like, what's going on between them? Is there anything going on? What's the meaning of all of this? Somewhere halfway through I kind of lost interest, and then I picked it back up again because so many people said like no, it's a good book and there's like a second part coming out which is called Either Or. I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna give this another chance, and I did, and I really started enjoying myself. So I took this book everywhere with me, and one night I went to the bar and I had it in my handbag and we kind of got a little bit drunk. And when I came back home, the book was gone. I think on the way back, me and my friend, we were just like sitting down on some like paper boxes, because in Germany you bring out all your recycling and paper out twice a month and then it gets picked up. So they were the huge boxes and we were very tipsy and we're like, oh, it looks so comfortable, let's just lie down in the paper trash. And I was thinking, yeah, damn, the book fell out of my bag and into the paper trash. So I actually properly recycled the book. I started to enjoy and I was like, no. It was so sad. I also had like a really nice pencil inside. And I was like, okay, that's the universe's sign that I was not supposed to finish this book. So I'm gonna DNF it this way because I'm not gonna buy it again. And I was still kind of sad, and 2 days later I was making my bed and putting on new sheets and it just fell out. I was like, oh, hello book. So apparently in my drunken stupor I'd taken the book out of the bag, put it into the bed next to me and thought like, oh yeah, I'm gonna read before bed like I do every time, even though I can barely walk in a straight line. And then it just like kind of slipped between like the bed and this shelf and was stuck there. And the funny part is, even though I had a friend like sleep over at my place the night before and she didn't notice it either, so yeah, it just appeared again and I was like, okay, now that's a sign from the universe to finish it. And long story short, I finished it. I gave it 5 stars. It was very enjoyable. Once you kind of realize that Zelin's gonna do Zelin stuff and not like actual rational people stuff, then you, I think, will enjoy this a lot. And I'm also looking forward for the second part. I found it at my local bookshop, but it's the ugly edition and there's a nice edition. I'm gonna put this up on the screen so you can see. Like there's one that's just like splotchy paint and the other one is like this written type font on yellow background, I think. Yeah, I want a nice one. So maybe it's gonna be a Christmas present. I mean, it took me long enough to finish this one, so doesn't matter when I start the next one. And then I picked up this one from my TBR stack, Mud, because I thought it sounded so interesting on the blurb, and I'm gonna read the blurb to you. Born from a long line of female warriors and crusaders and cast out from the royal court, Marie de France is sent to Angleterre to become the prioress of Nabi. Marie wields her strength, teaching sword fighting and dagger work. She sets a bold new course for the nuns she leads, bringing herself and her sisters into richness and power. So I thought like there's this like really strong fighter woman and she turns like these nuns into fighters, teaching them sword fighting and dagger work. It's saying that right there. And nothing of the likes happens ever. They get like once attacked by like 20 annoyed men who don't like that they are wealthy now. They want to take something from the abbey and then they set up some traps and that's that. So I thought like, okay, I was waiting for this the whole book, but it's really more like little vignettes of Marie's life from the time she leaves the royal court till her death. So her whole lifespan is covered and she does a lot for the abbey and like lots of things happen, and also from time to time other people are more important or less important, and Marie also falls for one of the nuns and then like starts something, a little dalliance with the other nuns, and you know, she's just like a sapphic giant powerhouse helping the nuns make the abbey great. That was great, so it's not a bad book, but the blurb was just like, hey, there's gonna be so much action in this book, and it's not. It's very slowly told, very atmospheric also. So yeah, it's not a bad book, but I just was expecting something else. I don't know. I'm kind of sad because if I knew that was this type of book, I would have enjoyed it much more, and I just kept waiting for something. So maybe I should just stop reading the blurbs, because yeah, sometimes they like tell too much, sometimes too little, sometimes completely wrong things. So I don't know who's writing these blurbs, by the way. They should hire me. And then finally, I read a book in my native language, which is German. But if you want to read this, like if what I'm going to tell you about this book now sounds interesting to you, this book has been translated into English as well. The title, I think, has been translated into What You Can See From Here. I'll put it up somewhere here on the screen because it was a massive hit in Germany. People loved this book, and that's why it got translated to a couple of languages. And it's about a woman who, when she sleeps and dreams of an okapi, which is this weird animal, somebody in her village will die. Everybody in the village knows that, and some of them, well, most of them are very superstitious, and they freak out and they start telling each other their secrets because like it might be them who die, so nobody knows who's gonna die. So they like tell people they love them, or they break up with people, or they do the things they wanted to do before they die. And that's basically like the first third of the book, is like the whole village kind of freaking out. The other main character is her granddaughter, and she and her friend, they're just like out and about and kind of still living their life while everybody is freaking out. And then after like the first third, something super tragic happens, and the rest of the book is like, everything is trying to heal from that tragic event again. Yeah, I flew through this book, so it's like a good easy read. It's very easy to read. But in the beginning I nearly stopped it because every one of the characters is quirky, has a special thing, and it's very overdrawn. So it's like lots of quirky characters doing lots of weird stuff. A little bit of quirk is fine, you know. I don't want to read about flat characters, but that was just full on. And I was like, okay, I get it, but give me something else. But then it breaks down a bit. The emotions and like the dynamics between the people are more important. That gets definitely better. It wasn't like a super 5-star read for me, but it wasn't a bad read either. And I'm glad I read this because like I know lots of people who read this. I heard lots of people rave about this book. Yeah, it's not my favorite book of all times, which is fine. I just still had a good time. That was it already. 4 books for October. None of them really bad. 2 of them really good. I think that's like a good read reading month. I'm happy with that. I'm excited for the books that I have planned for November. Yeah, let me know if you have read any of them, what you thought about them, because I know like opinions are very different. So the books that I might like, others might hate. And also if you read anything that was 5-star in October, please let me know. I'm always on the lookout for good books. And I hope I see you in the next one. Bye bye!